Greetings, gang. David Guppel, Thinker Farmer here. I'm in Colorado Springs, Colorado with my brother Daniel. He's holding the camera right now. And we're on vacation, and today I got to come visit a special buddy of mine. And Sean, he and I were stewards together at Polyface a year ago. And rather than doing all the talking, I'll let Sean kind of share. Where are we at, Sean? What's the name of your farm?
We call it Fin and Grain. Jesus fed a whole bunch of people with very little, and so we wanted to kind of spin that name a little bit so it wasn't so overtly that same message. But the idea is that it's feeding people that we can, as healthy as we can, starting with our family and maybe growing from there. But so Fin is the fish and Grain is the bread. So Fin and Grain Farm. Yeah. And we're technically in Falcon, Colorado, or Peyton, Colorado.
Okay, that's true. We're outside Colorado.
Just outside Colorado Springs. Yeah. Yep. And this is Patty. She's our first-time dairy cow. She just calved. Her calf is right there. That's Lily. She did a really good job. Yeah. She's a mini Jersey, and I'm new to all this milking stuff, but she's been doing a great job, and I've really been thoroughly enjoying it.
This is an amazing cow here. Now, gang, we came in here, and Sean said, well, I don't know if she's going to stay, laying down like this. She's probably going to get up for strangers, but look at her, y'all. We've been in here now, I think, 15 minutes, and I don't think she's going to get up. She's contented. She's chewing the cud on some hay, and that's what's hanging out of her mouth, or grass, and she's pretty happy. Sean, one thing I'd like to ask, the Thinker Farmer YouTube channel is really about helping different young farmers starting out decide where they are, who they are, and come up with a mission and purpose, and in their context of what they're doing. How did you decide to start Fin and Grain Farms? I mean, and it's very new. It's only really been a couple.
Yeah, we've only been here less than 2 years. We've lived on this property, and I was gone on the internship with you for the majority of our last summer, so that's most of our production for growing and being able to do any kind of chickens or anything like that. But really, for me, my wife and I feel like we started getting a desire in our heart to somewhat disintegrate as much as we could from the conventional food system. My wife also has some health issues, and it was becoming challenging for her to find really good quality food that she could trust.
Oh yeah.
With all the labels that you can see in grocery stores.
You don't know what you're getting.
No, and you can't trust what's even written on there.
Because there's nobody behind. There's no person behind it.
Exactly right. And definitions change, and
really it's based on what the government says.
Exactly
just,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How can we trust even a lot of those regulations?
And I don't want to cut you off.
No,
but a lot of it really comes down to being connected to what really matters about life, to being connected to real life. Because in our modern culture today, gang, and most of y'all watching already know this, there's just been a profound disconnect between what really matters. Life doesn't have to be made that complicated, but with all the technology, life has become a system of techniques instead of a simple understanding of purpose.
Yeah, I think our heart, we've got 3 small kiddos, 14, 12, and 9. And so part of it was adventure, part of it was disintegration from the world system. I wouldn't say it was anything to do with COVID or anything like that, but certainly we see how chaotic people got over toilet paper. Right.
And so all sorts of things.
As much as we can sustain our own family from even a small acreage like this, 5 acres, by just raising broiler chickens and milk, and we sell a little bit of our excess. But it's not really been our goal. It's not really been a whole business.
Well, you want
mindset
to
once
start by feeding your family.
Exactly.
It's really a lie that's been preached in conventional ag today. They ask you, are you ready to feed the world? Well, if you ask the wrong question, you're going to get the wrong answer. And instead of asking a farmer to feed the world, let the farmer start by feeding his family. It's to the point now where most of what a farmer's growing, he can't even eat himself. He has to send it to a processor, and he's getting a commodity price that's outrageous. And when he goes to buy a bag of potato chips, I mean, the actual money that he got paid for that was 4 or 5 cents out of a dollar, which is pretty ridiculous when you think about, I mean, normally you've got a production, processing, marketing, and distribution. You would think the farmer would get at least 15 or 20%. So Sean, I wanted to piggyback off of, you mentioned you and I were at Polyface last summer, and we had a really great time, met a lot of really great people, learned a lot of really cool things, and you weren't really able to finish the season at Polyface.
Yeah.
And I mentioned earlier in our conversation while we were in the barn here that I actually respected you for not finishing. And I mean, on the one hand, we learn and hear growing up, you always finish whatever you start. But why weren't you able to finish the summer there at Polyface?
Yeah, that was a struggle. That was really difficult. Same thing. When I start something, I think I've said it like this before. I don't quit well. I don't.
Right. You're a finisher.
I mean, look at how many people that they passed over to take us.
Yeah, they
who
had
said we
150 people,
Right.
and they picked. I mean, we were in the top 5% of the group.
Right, and so if you say yes and you consent and you give your yes,
Your word,
you commit
you're
to
giving
5
your word.
months.
Yeah.
So I struggled really hard with that, but my wife and I run a couple of small businesses in town also. We run a little coffee shop, and she was left here to do all of it on her own and have
And
the kiddos.
3
and,
kids too.
Yeah.
All,
Yeah. And I spent a lot of time in the service, and so to me, I thought, oh, this is going to be like another deployment. But I hadn't
it
deployed in
wasn't.
about 8 years. My kids were much older, and we were trying to get this going, and we weren't running a business at the time, and so.
And really, you had left the service because you wanted to be there for family.
That's right. I didn't know my kids. I didn't know my wife very well. Things were unhealthy, and so I left after 12 years and said I would never pursue something at the expense of our relationships again, and I would build whatever we were going to do would be for the sake of family. That's our core. And so that plays into why I made the decision that I did to leave.
Yeah.
My kids weren't doing very well. They were having a really
And
hard
I
time.
remember the week he handled it really well, gang. He got up one evening after the evening meal and said, gang, what we're doing here is very important. But this weekend, my son's going to be at a father-dad conference, and I'm going to be the only dad that, as of now, is not going to be there. And he said, as important as learning all these farm business things is, my son's more important than that. And there's a saying, Sean, you probably know it. It's by Albert Einstein, the great 20th century physicist. He said, strive not to become a man of success, but instead to become a man of value. And so there's a lot of people, Sean, that they'll end up sacrificing their values, maybe even their personal health, family relationships, because they've been told they need to climb the ladder, and that it's the big season now, and you have to do whatever it takes to race to the top. And what I clearly hear you saying is, racing to the top isn't worth it. It's
not if it's going to leave your family in a place where they don't know you, you have no relationship, they're wounded from it, and they carry that on in their lives, right?
Yeah.
I get to come down every single morning and be with my boy, and we get to milk this cow every morning, and that time is so special.
That's relationships. You'll treasure that till the day you die, and maybe even for eternity.
That'll affect
time.
the things that we're doing, choices that we've made to pursue a life in this kind of lifestyle, and not try to grow it outside of what we can do today. Will have, I believe and I pray for, a lasting valued effect on
Relationship
my
with your
children.
father and son. Yeah.
That's right. And I pray that my kids will carry that and
And
perpetuate
hopefully
that.
perpetuate
right.
that, because they'll remember.
Yep.
Well, gang, I'm not going to keep you all any longer. I'm trying to keep these videos brief and to the point, but I encourage you all to remember that as you're seeking to build a farm and move forward, realize that a production number is not something you can take with you when you die. A big bank account is not something you can take with you when you die. Bragging rights over being the biggest or top producer of the year, it really isn't going to matter. What is going to matter is the people around your circle. So always remember to put your loved ones and those people first. Be a man of value rather than a man of success. And with that, Sean, you want to add anything?
I think figuring out, we talked about this earlier today, just figuring out what your goal is and why you're doing it.
Yes.
And as long as those things are, to me, in alignment with what you're saying, that actually give life and contribute to life in your family and in your groups and your tight communities, I feel like if I can stick with that, and if it has to do with this, I'm all about that. That's great. But if my goals are different and my goals are focused on just success and making money, then to me that doesn't resonate.
Yeah, well,
and maybe this grows. Maybe we do grow at some point.
maybe you do, but it'll be just a result of
Exactly.
of sticking to the bigger picture, what actually matters,
Yeah.
rather than really what I would say is chasing a one-sided view of life. Money is part of life. We do have to
Absolutely.
make a
Right.
living,
Sure.
and there's nothing wrong with being successful.
Exactly. That's
But
right.
you know, you've got to understand the bigger picture of how it all fits together as a whole.
Yep.
All right, gang. Signing off. It's July 6th, 2022. We'd probably love on Patty a little more and check out the rest of the farm. Blessings.
Thank you.